really proud of the way that Jeff has progressed. Again, I thought he had a terrific spring, got stronger over the summer, and is off to a great start here. Offensively, no big surprise. Our player of the week is Kane Coulter. Just an incredibly dynamic performance, and obviously a lot to build on from there. Defensively, Damian Proby had 14 total hits. He was very active all day long and probably played his best game of the year. Our defensive big playmaker was Chichi Arguzo. Again, active game for Chichi, and our offensive big playmaker with those big third down throws was Trevor Simeon. Obviously very proud of the way he played in his first career start, so to speak. So I thought he did a great job. Practice players, Pierre Youngblood-Ari did a nice job for us offensively. Connor Mahoney had a great week on defense, and then Andrew Scanlon in the kicking game. I thought for the most part, after looking at the tape, we were able to control the flow of the game. Lost momentum there for a little while. We had players in position to make plays in the areas where we had breakdowns, and we've just got to make those plays as we move forward. But the guys have great confidence. I think they've got belief in themselves and a belief in each other. And I just got done meeting with the leadership council, and I looked around the room, and I said, a number of you guys were not nominated by your coaches for player of the game. I think that just goes to show you how much better we can be when our core leaders aren't necessarily coming out of a game saying they played their best game of the year or played well enough for us to win. So, I challenge those guys. They have their best week of preparation to take one guy with them, and we got 12 guys in that group. That would be 24 guys. If we can get that group to really play to their level of consistency and what they're capable of, we got a chance to have a good football team. But right now we're not quite there. So we've got a lot of work to do this week. It's going to be a very difficult challenge for us, going on the road and playing one of the best environments in college football with a program, to me, that I think has just really done a terrific job coming together, playing very physical, very efficient football that is playing, I think as hot as anybody in the country right now. They played very well the last 3 weeks. We're very impressed with the way they played on Saturday down in Champaign. Before we get going, a couple of injury updates. Very optimistic that all guys that were injured in the game on Saturday and a couple guys who are on the injury report will be back for this game, but we'll progress as the week goes along, and I'll give you my injury report on Thursday. But again, I'm optimistic those guys will play. Some things that have occurred over the last couple of weeks. Rod Goodlow will be out for the season with a knee, and Fadi will be out for the season with a shoulder. So we'll get a medical redshirt for him and have him back for 4 years. So with that, how about some questions?
With the Fadi, that is a done deal? I mean,
Yep.
That's and can you just explain how that works? Is it if a guy gets injured and has played less than 25%, or how does that work?
Exactly.
Oh.
Yeah, exactly.
Coach, I was just wondering if you could elaborate a little more on those 50-50 balls you were talking about on Saturday. You mentioned again. Now they're in position. What exactly is it? Is it just timing the jump better? Is it testing it better?
Yeah, well, yeah, I think the contesting was fine. I mean, there's kind of an old philosophy out there in secondary coverage and wide receiver routes. He who jumps first usually catches the ball. And in all those routes, we jumped second. So we'll try to jump first this week. I mean, it's not a whole lot more complicated than that. I thought the guys had good, all but one. When they ran a wheel route, unfortunately, we had talked about it, that practice and expected it. We got to do it some more. We're going to continue to see it. But, Nick was still in position. He's just got to be poised in the moment. We got great confidence in those guys. They're playing pretty well.
Coach, your thoughts on being nationally ranked now and the expectation that comes with that?
Yeah, Joe, I'm not sure there's an expectation change internally. I mean, it doesn't really matter to me if we are or we're not. It's completely out of our control. We're focused on ourselves, and it might sound like a broken record, but that's kind of how I talk to the team. Again, we have not put together 4 quarters of clean football yet in all 3 phases. So until we do that, and even when we do that, I'm still going to find things that we can improve on. So, we're far from where we have internal expectations on where we can be and how we can play. So that's really our focus here.
Let's see. Okay, here we go. You got Kane listed as the starter. Is this a week-to-week thing, and keep other teams guessing? How do you handle this?
Yeah, I mean, that's the way that we'll operate. I don't see any change. Game plan will dictate how that gets adjusted throughout the week. So I'd say that with every position. I mean, because I could put something down here today, and then as the week goes along, it changes. I'm not contractually obligated, sorry, to give you guys anything after today, so.
Just to follow up on.
Just the facts.
Follow up on that. Do you think it makes it harder in some ways for defenses to be guessing? Or does it?
Yeah, I don't know if it matters. I mean, it still comes back to blocking and tackling and throwing and catching and running and taking care of the football. I mean, at the end of the day, personnel is personnel, and they're going to game plan what they need to do in the way that they feel that they need to defend us, and same thing for us with them. I mean, you've got your tendencies, you got your tips, you got your clues off of your film study, but everybody in this league does a terrific job of self-scouting and looking inward at yourself, kind of what you've done. Hey, where could we be scouted? Where are we a little bit skewed one way or the other to be able to show some balance? And everybody's really well coached. Obviously, Coach O'Brien and his staff are doing a terrific job, and present a lot of schematic challenges. We've had to go against Ted Roof in the past. They've gotten after us. He does a great job with their defense. So, it's going to be a great challenge. And obviously, Johnny, their special teams coordinator, was Minnesota, before Johnny Butler. So, we've got some familiarity there. They do a great job. Fast, they're physical. The kids are playing with an attitude. They're playing for each other. They're playing for the university. It's impressive to watch what they're doing. I'm not surprised, though. They've got great leadership there from a standpoint of in their locker room. You saw it this summer, how they came together. It's really impressive to watch those young men, the way they're playing together.
Pat, you guys had some good starts before. October's been a bit of a tough month. Is there anything key to playing well after the good start?
Yeah, we need to have an approach of no excuses. We've got to time manage. We obviously start school full-fledged this week, and we've got to be able to do a terrific job of handling our business appropriately and going to class and being where we're supposed to be when we're supposed to be, which our guys do. I mean, we had a 3.04 team GPA last year. I mean, I'm not worried about us academically. So, we got to play above a 3.0 on Saturday. How does that sound? I mean, that's what we got to do. We got to be more consistent on Saturdays here in the month of October. And we've been pretty salty in September. We've been pretty good in November. And October's our month. We talked about it in the off season. We talked about kind of having a plan of time managing better, of making sure we get done what we need to get done when we need to get it done, being professional in the way that we approach it, and really challenging our leaders to bring the guys in and not allowing the NCAA to hold them back. The NCAA only gives you 20 hours that we can work with them. They've got to be able to overcome that and be professional in their approach. And so far, the leadership and the maturity, although we're young, I think we've got good upper class maturity and upper class leadership that's going to show the guys how to do it. And I would say this, Adam, based on where we're at in 5 weeks, our look from our young guys on our scout team, this is the best that we've had. These guys have really embraced those roles. They've given us a great look in practice. We've had very competitive practices. And that's my hope, is that group, now that they get a little bit more on their plate instead of PlayStation and Facebook and sleep, they continue to have the kind of workload and the kind of prep that we need them to have for us to be successful.
Just to clarify, did you talk about October specifically in the off season?
Absolutely. Yeah, we sure did. Yeah, we talked about it on our staff retreat in length. It's probably of our 4 or 5 hours of our work time there. It was probably 2 hours of our conversation. We started talking about it last spring with the football team, and we've been talking about it now for a couple days. So hopefully you achieve what you emphasize.
Coach, where's some of the schematic differences between what you've seen in the past from Penn State under Coach Paterno and now what you're seeing this year under Coach O'Brien?
Yeah, it's completely different. It's completely different. Number one, offensively, Bill's going to put a lot of pressure on you formationally. They do a great job with formation variations, with some motions, by reducing the formation, by bunching the formation, by trying to get you to tip your hand on what you're doing. Matt's playing at a really high level. I've always thought highly of Matt McGloin. I thought he's been a guy that's been successful. He's tough, he's gritty, he takes hits. You watch the way he played in the Virginia game. He was a warrior in that game, gave him a chance to win. Played really well on Saturday. Did a great job taking what Temple gave him. So really impressed with the way that he plays. I think Matt is one of the best offensive linemen in the country. The way he plays the center position is impressive. He's tough, he's physical, he's nasty. He plays with a chip on his shoulder, can get to the second level. Robinson on the perimeter is making big plays along with Kenny, and they're playing a bunch of backs. They're doing a really good job. I mean, they're kind of role-playing guys. Belton got back and was healthy, on Saturday. They're doing a great job. And then defensively, this will be the best defense we've played to date. I think they're 14th in the country in points against. They got 6 starters returning. They got after us a year ago. Michael Mauti is an impressive guy. I'll watch the interview this summer. There's no question he's a terrific leader. He's overcome a bunch of physical adversity through injuries. Gerald Hodges was an All-Big Ten player a year ago. Jordan Hill is as active and as physical of an inside guy. Amos and Morris and Willis and Stephen are very active in the back end. They bring skill guys in nickel. They do a lot. Ted does a nice job schematically of attacking what you do and how you do it. They get in some double eagle stuff. They do a great job. And then the kicking game, they're physical, fast. They got playmakers. It's going to be a challenge. We understand what we're getting into. It's not going to be easy.
Coach, you mentioned the environment, and obviously you guys have won in Kennett, you've won in Minnesota a couple times, you've won at the Big House, but Happy Valley's been tough for you guys. What makes that such a tricky environment to play in, other than obviously under Bob Batson people?
Well, their students are awesome. I don't know how many students they have, 60,000? I don't know, however many, 40, 50? It's huge. They all come to the game. It's awesome. I mean, it's a great college environment. The fans are very knowledgeable. I mean, obviously Pennsylvania football speaks for itself. We've got quite a few guys going home, to play in front of their friends and family, and they're going to need to be focused and not get caught up in the moment, in the environment, which I know they will. But it's just one of those great college environments, one of those great venues that you look forward to the challenge of it, and you got to focus, you got to execute, and you got to not get caught up in the emotion of the game. So hopefully our guys will do that. Hopefully we prepare them every day. You guys come to practice. We got music going every day. Just be a little louder. About 6 more speakers. Fun.
Coach, you were talking about Penn State and the environment there and how your team, you may or may not be used to it, but given all that happened there over the past offseason, do you anticipate it being significantly different, if at all, for you or for your...
Yeah, no, I mean, all those things are out of our control, and we focus on ourselves. I mean, that's just what we do. We, want to obviously lift the victims up in our thoughts and our prayers, but as we've moved forward, I think so have they. And you got to tip your hat and be incredibly impressed with the job their coaching staff and their young men have done when it's come to playing the game of football. And, they play for each other, they play as one, and they're playing with great passion, great physicality, and to go on the road to have this kind of challenge. We're going to find out kind of where we're at, come 4 o'clock Eastern on Saturday.
Pat, you obviously took over this job at a tough time, but what can you say about what Bill has done in that situation, especially after they started 0-2 to get where they are now?
Yeah, Adam, I can't speak for his situation. I would not, in any way, shape, or form, try to compare what we've gone through out of respect to our situation and obviously in respect to theirs, but he's a terrific football coach. He's been successful at every level. The way that he's brought a tremendous staff of coaches together, retained a couple of, I think, just outstanding coaches, and Coach Johnson and Coach Van Newland, and who I've got the utmost respect for both of those gentlemen. And obviously their young men have stuck together. They've banded together as brothers, and they're playing for each other. They're playing for their school. And as an outsider from afar, and as someone who's just had really 2 days to study them on tape, and then to read up on what they've done together and collectively, to us, and the way that we value things here in our program, it's that old coachism: life is 10% what happens to you, 90% what you do about it. And I think in their 90% of their response as a football family, we're very respectful and very impressed by what Coach O'Brien and what his young men have done.
Coach, looking back at last year's game, I mean, you guys had lead, like, I think 21-0, 2 touchdowns, and then right before the half, you're able to score. So that was 2 years ago at Happy Valley. How important in a place like that? I mean, it's always important on the road not to let the other team get momentum, but in that game, you had all momentum. You had that stadium silence, and then before the half, they get noisy, they get slow. How much are you counting your players just there to keep control of the game?
Yeah, I mean, you just can't get caught up in the emotion. You got to be consistent. I mean, that's the key in everything that you do. And that's our challenge right now, just as a whole program. We've got to be just much more consistent in everything that we're doing. So, I mean, that's what I'm going to talk to him about, you know, and that's what I talked to him about today, is our consistency needs to improve. I think if we do that, we've got a chance to have a good football team. You know, we're just not there yet. We're too young in too many places, you know, and this will be, and we had I think, a great road test in the opener at Syracuse. And, you know, we didn't get an A+, but we won, right? So I think we take great confidence from that. We've been in some close games now early in the year, and this will be a tough one. I mean, we know that. That's why you come play Big Ten football, though. So our guys will be excited for the challenge, and you know, do our best this week as coaches to put them in as hostile of environment and practice as we can, like we do every week, and hopefully they'll handle it well.
Hey, Fitz, two questions. Did the game change much, you feel like, when Ibrahim went out on Saturday?
Well, he went out so early, Teddy. No, I thought we handled some things pretty well. I thought Trey, for his first time being out there, was pretty effective. You know, did we get to every chapter in the defense? Probably not. But we ran most of our package, most of our stuff.
And just on the thing you're talking about with October, so has the issue been pretty much the kids start class and then maybe they're not doing as much film work and things like that? Is that what you're talking about?
Like I said, I think we're taking our approach, Teddy, of no excuses. You know, and I'm going to be really demanding on them this month, and I'm not going to tolerate. I'm not going to tolerate the past. I'll just put it to you that way. Our expectations collectively as a program have risen, and we've got to be much better in this month if we want to achieve the goals that we have for ourselves. And we've started fast, as Adam alluded to earlier. We've got to sustain that emotionally. We've got to sustain that focus. We've got to sustain our prep, and we've got to take it to a higher level. And if we want to achieve the things that we set out as goals in the off season. And so I'm taking a very hard line with the group, and hopefully they'll come along with us.
Any more questions?